Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new here, I'm Natalie, and in this channel I share my financial journey with all of you. I'm a HR professional working from home for a small tech company, and I have just been in the process of saving aggressively for a move out to a new state. So if you're interested in seeing my journey here as I achieve my financial goals, pay off debt, save up for this move, then also live live in North Carolina, please subscribe. Today what we're going to do is close out the month of February. So as you guys know, I have already made the move. It is towards the end of March at this point, but I want to still film all of these videos for you. So I've kept a little draft notebook of all of my budgets, whether that's paycheck or monthly budgets, and like all of my transactions, so I don't lose track of everything that happened over the last several weeks. So if you're interested in seeing how I did for my February budget, please keep watching. Okay, so as you guys know, I am a salaried employee and my paychecks don't really change. However, if you've seen my paycheck closeout, you know that just recently there has been a change in my second paycheck to account for some taxes that are needed for a benefit that my company provides. So my paychecks will be a little bit different, just by a little bit over $10 moving forward, but it is what it is. And of course, once I have my next paycheck fully in North Carolina, we'll see how much they take out for state taxes. So not really looking forward to it, but I knew what I was getting into when I decided to move here from Florida. So for my salary, I actually ended up getting a total of $7,315 with 18 cents. $7,315.18. That is $11.02 or 20 cents. So that is negative $11.20. Then for my miscellaneous, I didn't get any extra money here, so that is $0. And that would make the total the same. So $7,315 with 18 cents. And that would mean negative $11.20 overall. So for my fixed expenses, nothing changed here. I'm really excited because now that I've moved, I don't have that storage unit for the next month. And I think a few things, or well, this will definitely increase. So we're gonna see how my budget looks in March. So the only thing that I did forget here, which I remembered when I was setting up one of my paychecks, was actually Canva. I forgot that I had that subscription as of January. So I set this up. I had still not gotten that transaction in, so that is a total of $14.99 extra. What we have plus $14.99, that would give me $18.95 with 14 cents. So that is the actual fixed expenses that I had for the month. So that's that. And then if you want to see specifics of all of my expenses in terms of my variable expenses, I have done separate check-in videos. I kind of like split the month into two. Once things settle back down a little bit, I don't have as many transactions month over month, I'm definitely gonna like put that together with my paychecks as well again. So my groceries for the month of February ended up being actually lower than I expected in total. So that was $88.76. The majority of this was definitely towards the end of the month, so in that second paycheck I remember going over for sure. So that was groceries, so that means that we have a positive here. So 88 minus the 120 is 31.24. in the positive. Then for gas and tolls, I underestimated how much I was going to be out and about. So I ended up actually spending a total of $104.14, and this actually was exactly the amount that I spent in my second paycheck. So towards the beginning of the month, I definitely didn't do much driving given that I was sick. So that is in the negative. So 80 minus 104.14, that is negative 24.14. So that kind of almost cancels each other out on those two. And then for fun, this is where, as I was doing my paychecks budgets, I actually increased this, and even then I was off, but I went really overboard here. So I ended up spending a total of $528.48. So that was negative 328 with 48 cents. And for unbudgeted, I had a few things that came up for sure. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, but please go ahead and look at my previous videos where I break down those. But I know for a fact that the biggest unbudgeted expense that I had was when I submitted my taxes. So I had a good chunk of money from there, but the total here ended up being negative 3, or not negative, I ended up spending 387 with 11 cents. So that means that we are on negative 387.11, of course. And this also included my Amazon membership or subscription, monthly subscription, because after I finally was able to cancel it, I just needed to get a lot of things for the move. So I ended up just restarting it, but I wasn't going to add it into my expenses. I'm hoping that for April I can finally cancel it and just go with the free version of, or free delivery that Amazon offers. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, so for my variable expenses, the only thing in the positive is my groceries, which is kind of sad. So 88.76 there, plus 104.14 for gas and tolls, plus 528.48 for fun. Lots of meeting friends and enjoying my time before I left. And then unbudgeted was 387.11, so that is a total. Oh, I'm forgetting my sinking funds, which was 300 actually. So we'll just add it here. So it was 150 per paycheck. So 1108.49 is what I had before my sinking funds, but let's add those as well so I don't forget them later. So total was 1408.49. So 400 plus the 300 from the sinking funds was what I intended to spend. So I basically doubled the amount. So 1408.49, 708.49 in the negative. I think I probably need to increase my fund budget and stuff like that, especially when I do go back to Florida and like spend time with friends and family. I need to make that a point whenever I know that I'm going to be going down there, because I definitely like to spend money when I'm out and about. So anyways, so that's that for my variable expenses. Again, if you want to see like the full-on breakdown of all the items and transactions I had, please watch those other videos. And yeah, let's go ahead and close this out really quickly. So for my income, again, it was a bit lower, so 7,315 with 18 cents. And for fixed expenses, we had a total of 1,895 with 14 cents. For my variables, total here was 1,408 with 49 cents. For my debt, I added an extra $100 to my PayPal account. So the minimum was like $37 or $39. So I added a bit more money there. And then let's see how much I ended up with for my savings. I think it was like $1,900 each paycheck, but I want to double check. 1895, 14, 1408, 49, 100, and then I did 1900 in the in the second paycheck. That's the one I remember. And then I think it was, let me double check. Yeah, so it was 1925 for the first paycheck, so that left me with $46, or that left me with $86.55 as a rollover, because I remember the second one was 41.41. So yeah, that makes sense. So it was 1900 plus 1925. So the total here, instead of 4,000, it was $3,825 that went to my savings. 7,315, 18 minus 1895, 14 minus 1408.99, or 49, minus 100, minus 3,825. So my balance here is $86.55. This was negative 708.49. This stayed the same, and then this was 46.25 minus 3,825, negative 800, which makes sense because I spent 7 here, and then the 11 that I had less plus whatever's remaining, so that equals out. And then the other thing that I wanted to do was actually go over my debt balances. So I'm just gonna do that real quick. For sinking funds, again, I'm terrible at using my sinking funds, to be honest, so we'll see if I ever manage to get a handle on this. But for my debt tracker, I did already fill out like all of the minimums, as well as my starting balance and like all of the interest rates that I have. But I wanted to keep track of this, especially because I know that moving forward, once I finish up everything for March, I'm gonna heavily look into paying off at least my credit cards, and then I'm still debating whether I should tackle my Mazda or my student loans. My thought process when it comes to paying off debt is obviously highest interest rate. For me, at least, that's typically what I like to do. So of course my first priority is PayPal, because a lot of the money, not a lot, but I would say like 1/3 of whatever's here is definitely accruing interest. So that would be my first debt that I would like to pay, even though my Best Buy is at 0 and it's less. It makes me feel better to do that. Then after my PayPal, of course, I would like to pay off my Best Buy as soon as possible before the interest rate starts kicking in. I think it's in May or June. So that would be my next one. And then if I followed that same logic, my next step should be my student loans, because my Mazda has a 3.05%. And of course, individually, all of my loans are much less than my car. However, what I typically think of is, if I were to lose my job, the best part about my student loans is that you can obviously pause them until you get back on your feet. Of course, I can't do that with my Mazda. So that's the main reason I'm leaning on that. And then of course, this is a higher payment for now, at least for now, because we'll see once I have to resubmit for my income-driven plan. But for now, my Mazda, the minimum payment is a lot higher than, not a lot, but significantly higher than my student loan payment. So the minimum payment being less, combined with the fact that I can pause my student loans, plus the fact that on top of my Mazda payment, I also have to keep into account how much money I spend in car insurance, that just makes me think that it's better for me to aggressively pay off my Mazda first, and then my student loans I can tackle one by one after the fact. And I would probably tackle like these in the middle, because they obviously have the higher interest. So that's my thought process. That's kind of my plan. I think I may actually do a separate video where I kind of do different scenarios and figure out my debt, along with my emergency savings, because now that I am fully on my own in a new state, I feel a little bit more anxious, of course. So I definitely want to increase my emergency fund as soon as possible as well. So anyways, tangent over. Let's just go over what my debt looks like now that I have paid the minimums on everything and added a little bit more for the PayPal account. So for PayPal, that's due on the 24th, and the balance at the start of the month was $2,000 or $2,011.84. The minimum payment was $37, and I made an additional payment in there. So of course, so my minimum that I pay towards PayPal is $100, so I added an extra $63 to it. So I also think, if I'm being honest, I think I also had like a return or something in PayPal, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry, it's just been a while. So the ending balance here was $18.56.42. Then for my Best Buy account, I only did the minimum here, so the balance here was $19.02 with 99 cents. And for my Mazda, I did my minimum payment of $298.17, so that is a balance of $10,500. I am so excited to be under the 10,000 mark for my car, because it feels like it's been forever. And then of course for my student loans, I didn't add anything else, so that was the total payment going to them. So after the minimum payment, the balance here was $18,580 with 80 cents. And I believe student loans accrue daily, so I know that this changes all the time, but that's what that ended up being in my statement. And then for my home loan, as you guys know, I have my property rented out, so even though the minimum payment is this amount, it doesn't, as long as my tenants pay on time, this is fully paid by them. And then I have a little bit left over, like $40 that goes towards my HOA. I am on the hook for that for now, so we'll see what happens in the near future. But my balance after the minimum payment went from $279,869 with 92 cents, and after the payment it went to $279,596 with 24. So it sucks that so much of it goes to interest. It's crazy that I literally lower this by, I think it's like $250 or less. Who knows? I don't even want to know, because that makes me so mad at myself. And yeah, so my ending balance here goes from $313,293 with 97 cents to $312,437 with 36 cents. So we're making a little bit of progress, at least. So that's it for my debt tracker, and that's pretty much it for my closeout. So as you guys know, I had intended to have like goals for each month, but February was really crazy. Also March has been really crazy. I can hopefully start over with all of my yearly goals that I had at the beginning of the year. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know if you have any questions. Happy to share as much as possible, but if you have any questions or suggestions, please feel free to share them down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.